At the height of the Roman Empire, while Christianity was still an underground movement, and while temples to Jupiter and Minerva towered over city squares, another religion was quietly spreading in the shadows, underground, hidden in caves and bound by secrecy. It was a faith born not of public sermons or state endorsement, but of ritual, hierarchy, and coded symbolism. This was the cult of Mithras, a deity with Persian roots, reimagined by the Romans, worshipped across legions and provinces, from Syria to Gaul. For centuries, Mithraism coexisted with Christianity, Judaism, and the many polytheistic beliefs of Rome. In fact, for a time, it directly competed with Christianity for the spiritual future of the empire. But today, most people have never heard of it. This video explores the hidden world of Mithraism, the religion's origins, its spread through the empire, its secretive practices and rituals, and how it ultimately disappeared from history, leaving behind little more than enigmatic artwork, ruined shrines, and unanswered questions. To understand Mithraism, we must first understand the concept of a mystery religion in the Roman world. Unlike Rome's public cults, which involved grand temples, open sacrifices, and massive public festivals, mystery religions were private, secretive, and exclusive. They operated behind closed doors, often in dark, symbolic spaces. They promised not just divine favor, but spiritual transformation, personal enlightenment, and initiation into hidden truths. Mithraism was one of several such religions. Others included the cult of Isis from Egypt, the cult of Cybele from Anatolia, and the Eleusinian mysteries of Greece. But Mithraism was different in a key way. It left behind no sacred texts. We have no surviving scripture from the followers of Mithras. Nearly everything we know about their beliefs and practices comes from archaeological remains and hostile Christian sources, written centuries later. That makes Mithraism both compelling and maddening for historians. To complicate matters, during the 19th and early 20th centuries, many European scholars projected their own ideas onto Mithraism, often without any real evidence. Some claimed that Christianity borrowed key elements from Mithras, such as the date of December 25th, or the idea of a virgin birth. Modern scholarship has firmly rejected these ideas. For example, Mithras wasn't born of a virgin. He was depicted as emerging fully grown from a rock, sometimes holding a torch and a dagger. His birthday? Unknown. December 25th became associated with Christianity for separate reasons, primarily due to Roman solar festivals like Sol Invictus. So where did Mithras come from? The name Mithras has clear roots in ancient Persia. The Persian Mithra was a god associated with truth, oaths, and light, often appearing in the Zoroastrian tradition as a divine being who stood for order and protected contracts and covenants. In Persian texts, Mithra is a powerful ally of Ahura Mazda, the supreme god, and appears as a figure of dawn and solar justice. But here's the twist. The Roman god Mithras was not a direct continuation of the Persian Mithra. While they share a name and some motifs, modern scholars now argue that Roman Mithraism was a new invention, a religious hybrid created within the Roman world, perhaps inspired by Persian themes, but developed independently. His appearance in Roman art, wearing a Phrygian cap, slaying a bull, surrounded by zodiac constellations, is uniquely Roman. This was a cosmopolitan deity, crafted in the melting pot of imperial religion. The earliest evidence of the Roman Mithras cult comes from the late 1st century CE, during the reign of the Flavian emperors. Some scholars trace its emergence to Kamagan, a small kingdom on the border of Rome and Persia, where local kings fused Persian and Greek religious traditions. Others point to Cilician pirates, known to worship Mithras and operate in Anatolia and the eastern Mediterranean during the late Republic. Roman historian Plutarch even mentions Mithras in relation to these pirates, suggesting the cult may have spread westward through unofficial, even criminal, channels. By the early 2nd century CE, Mithraism had spread like wildfire across the empire, especially among the Roman legions. Mithraea, or Mithras shrines, begin to appear across the frontiers, in Britannia, Gaul, the Balkans, and North Africa. These were underground temples, often designed to resemble caves, symbolizing the rock from which Mithras was born. Inside, iconography of Mithras slaying the bull dominated the central altar. These temples were usually small, accommodating 20 to 30 people, suggesting a tight-knit, cell-like structure. What made Mithraism especially remarkable was its broad appeal. Though heavily favored by soldiers, it wasn't limited to the military. Inscriptions and archaeological evidence show that freedmen, merchants, and aristocrats also participated. Even some emperors, most notably Commodus, were rumored to have been initiated. The cult seemed to transcend class and ethnic boundaries, offering a unifying religious experience in a diverse empire. And while Christianity was still illegal and persecuted, Mithraism grew comfortably alongside Rome's many tolerated faiths. So what did Mithraists actually believe? This is where the trail becomes murky. Without scriptures, we must rely on artwork, inscriptions, and temple architecture. And one image dominates all others, the tauroctony, or bull-slaying scene. In every Mithraic temple, Mithras is depicted killing a sacred bull. He kneels on its back, pulls its head up by the nose, and plunges a dagger into its neck. Surrounding this act are a strange collection of animals. A dog and snake drink the bull's blood, a scorpion attacks its genitals, and sometimes a raven flies overhead. In the background, the sun god Sol often watches. What does it mean? Most scholars today believe this scene is astronomical in nature. The animals represent constellations. The bull is Taurus, the scorpion is Scorpius, the dog and snake perhaps Canis Major and Hydra. Mithras's act may symbolize the precession of the equinoxes, or a cosmic battle between light and darkness. This makes sense, given Mithras's consistent associations with the sun, cosmic order, and time. He may have been seen as a divine force regulating the universe, slaying chaos to bring harmony. Other artwork shows Mithras feasting with the sun god, shooting arrows at rocks to release water, or climbing into a chariot of light. Interestingly, Mithraic temples also depict other deities. Some familiar, like Sol, Luna, or Eros, and others obscure, such as a lion-headed figure wrapped in a serpent, often called Ion or Kronos. This being is possibly a personification of eternity or time, another hint at the cult's cosmic focus. At the heart of Mithraism was a structured system of ranks and initiations. There were 7 levels, each with symbolic meaning and possibly unique rites of passage. 1. Corax, raven. 2. Nymphus, bride. 3. Miles, soldier. 4. Leo, lion, Perses, Persian. 6. Heliodromus, sunrunner. 7. Pater, father. Each rank represented a deeper level of spiritual insight and community leadership. Unfortunately, very few details survive about the exact nature of these rites. However, we know that initiates underwent symbolic trials, possibly involving purification, fasting, or staged combats. Participation in the cult appears to have been male only, at least for the inner circles. No inscriptions from Mithraic temples mention women as initiates. However, communal meals were held near the Mithraea, and women may have participated in these broader gatherings. Archaeological finds include large amphora, drinking vessels, and food remains, including goat, sheep, chicken, and bread, suggesting ritual feasts tied to the Mithraic calendar or initiation ceremonies. There is also tantalizing evidence that some rituals may have involved hallucinogenic substances, though this is debated. Some researchers believe psychoactive plants were used to induce visions or out-of-body experiences, especially during initiation. One document, the so-called Mithras liturgy, found in the Greek magical papyri, describes a soul's ascent through 7 heavens, encountering celestial guardians and finally reaching divine union with a solar deity. Whether this text reflects official Mithraic belief or was an adaptation used by other magicians remains unclear. What is clear is that Mithraism offered a complex religious experience, blending astrology, symbolism, ritual, and community. By the 3rd century CE, Mithraism had reached its peak. But in the following century, it began to decline rapidly. There were multiple reasons. First, Christianity was rising, not as a rival cult, but as a state-backed religion. When Constantine legalized Christianity in 313 CE, and especially after Theodosius banned pagan worship in the late 4th century, Mithraism was left vulnerable. Second, Mithraism's secrecy made it inherently limited in outreach. While Christianity actively sought converts, Mithraism was exclusive, hierarchical, and lacked a clear missionary arm. Third, as urban elites and imperial patrons began shifting toward the church, Mithraism lost the networks it depended on for survival. Some Mithraea were destroyed by Christian mobs, others were simply abandoned. By the early 5th century, Mithraism had vanished. The underground caves went dark, the cosmic bull slayer was forgotten, Mithraism was gone, but not erased. Ironically, Christian authors preserved its memory by writing polemics against it. Later, during the Renaissance, Mithraic art was rediscovered and admired for its classical beauty. In the 19th century, European scholars resurrected the cult in academic circles, sometimes going too far, fueling fringe theories and conspiracy claims about Mithras being the original Jesus. More recently, Mithraic imagery has appeared in fiction and pop culture, including TV series like The Expanse, novels, and video games. The image of the bull slayer, the 7 initiations, and the lion-headed god remain compelling even today. And so Mithras survives, not as a god, but as a symbol of mystery, transformation, and the forgotten diversity of Rome's religious landscape. If you found this story of secret temples and cosmic rituals as fascinating as we did, be sure to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe so you don't miss upcoming episodes on the ancient world's most intriguing religions and forgotten beliefs. Thanks for watching.